It seems like this episode was the HUDA'S intervention episode. There was a lot of gentle parenting, and people were finally holding her accountable in a gentle way. And I think this is what was needed. I personally think Huda does deserve an opportunity at redemption. Yes, she's been problematic, but I don't think it's just been her. And personally, I think it's unfair how everyone is piling on at her and almost making it seem like it's all Huda's fault. Yes, she needs to be held to account, but Jeremiah has definitely had his part to play, and he's not this victim that needs to be freed. He's had free will this whole time. But he stayed because he's a scammer and he wanted that 100K. And now that he realizes that his 100K is not going to work with Huda, he's ditched her. In the beginning of the episode, Huda is holding back from crashing out because the gentle parenting / intervention is already beginning, where people are saying, I've saved you. I want you to have a chance of love in here. You're deserving of love. But the shouting, the effing and blinding, calling people out their name, it stops today. The crashing out, it stops today. So she's behaving this episode. She does have a little hiccup because Iris and Jeremiah are having a conversation, and it seems to be going quite well. Iris is open to getting to know Jeremiah. Obviously, Huda tried to kind of sabotage in the last episode when she was like, well, he said that he wasn't attracted to you and all of this stuff. But I think Iris, at the end of the day, Iris needs a spot in this house. And it looks like Jeremiah is her only option right now. So, of course, she's open. She's, telling him all that he wants to hear. I think she's open to getting to know him. But, especially looking at the preview of the next episode, she's trying to make it work with Jeremiah because Jeremiah is her only option, because this whole situation with Huda and Jeremiah and America making her the sacrificial lamb has really messed up her game and messed up her options with Ace and Nick. So she really has, at this point, before the bombshell came in, at this point, she had no choice but to make it work with Jeremiah. They're having their conversation. She's comforting him. She's being she's almost, is she the rebound? I feel like she's playing her role. Iris is smart. She's playing her role. Huda now comes to interrupt that conversation to basically have a closure chat with Jeremiah. I personally think she shouldn't have done that. I think she should have waited for the conversation to be over. But it is Huda in the grand scheme of things. Considering how the conversation went, that was the best that it was going to get from Huda. We're seeing a little bit of progress here. We are still going to wait a couple episodes, but we're seeing some progress here. At the very least, it was rude, yes. But at least the closure talk didn't end in a big bust up where there's effing and blinding. Jeremiah and Huda have their closure talk. She, says that she wishes him the best. Kind of does a sly dig, basically said, you've hurt me. I feel like you didn't really care about me, blah, 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 blah. But at this point, we know this, Huda. We know this about Jeremiah. We know that he might have cared about you in the beginning, but, his investment was not in Huda. It was in winning the money. So when the investment didn't pay off, he pretty much sacked her off. He wanted her gone. Like, he stood behind you because he wanted you gone. Like, that's how much he doesn't care about you. You've clocked that. At this point, I feel like she didn't even need to say it tonight. She basically said she needed to just get it off her chest so she could sleep. And you know what? Fair, because we've seen her waking up in the middle of the night crying. So maybe really and truly selfishly, she needed this to just get it up in the open. But by the end of it, they basically said, I wish you the best, but it's over now. Let it be done. Everybody in the house is tired. Jeremiah is trying to be like, yeah, I had a talk with Huda. Everyone is like, I know, I don't want to hear about it. I don't want to hear you guys' names together ever again. And you know what? Fair. And after that, she doesn't bother Jeremiah. We don't see her bothering Jeremiah. Like I said, we'll see how long it lasts. I hope it does last. But she's not bothering Jeremiah. Of course, she's upset when she sees them together. That's pretty much realistic for anyone who was clearly like in love with someone, seeing them with a new person. But crash out, ceasefire for now. like I said, people have basically said here and there, we need the crash outs to stop, the effing and blinding, the disrespect, we need it to stop. And then Sierra has a really comprehensive chat with her, basically admitting that she was conflicted about saving her, because we saw Sierra say in the beginning of the episode, like, if she crashes out again, if she continues to behave disruptively, she's not going to save her again. And she keeps it real with her. And she was like, yeah, I was thinking to kick you out because I don't know if you can continue in this house and make a new healthy development. And she basically said, like, we need to stop begging Jeremiah for respect. We need to stop begging these men for respect. And you need to respect yourself. Have some self-respect, have some class, have some dignity, and carry yourself with grace. And she wishes her the best. And I rate Sierra for that. She kept it real and she gentle parented her. Huda, she heard it. Will she receive it? Like I said, that remains to be seen. But I really did love that Sierra did hold her accountable with love. Then we had Megan the Stallion. The budget is up. We have Megan the Stallion, and she basically came to let everybody release their frustration, release the hunger through the spiritual ritual of twerking. I heard somewhere that like twerking actually releases stress and is a spiritual release. It's a spiritual practice. And I definitely believe it. I believe that the twerking really did, shake out the negativity in the house. And I feel like this was a part of the intervention. Before the twerking, Megan came in, she hyped up the girls. The girls are getting pretty. They're wearing the swimwear. I think this was needed for Huda. She tells Huda, her face can't eat, but she wants to see her smile. She wants to see her smile. She didn't really dive too deep into the relationship. She was like, I'm not gonna get involved in that. And when she left, she said, be nice, So hopefully that message has rubbed off. She's shaken Jeremiah off of her. I'm hopeful. I don't want to write Huda off. I personally don't agree that everybody feels like Jeremiah should be free and Jeremiah gets to start again and Huda should just fuck off and be miserable. I don't agree with that. I think she deserves a chance as well. It hasn't all been Huda. Jeremiah was love bombing, gaslighting, and lying. He was. And I have people who watch my video and are annoyed that I'm not bashing Huda completely. And I'm just not going for that. I'm not going for that. I've made my videos on Huda about how problematic she is, but I don't feel like she should be written off and Jeremiah should just get off scot-free. I don't think Scamaraya should, no. And I just think it's very questionable how it's always the women that get the harsher punishments. And it disappoints me that the women are backing it. Men as a people are very questionable, but at least they back each other through thick and thin, through the worst shit. But because a woman is effing and blinding because a man has done her dirty, we should now throw her to the sea. Come on, guys. This is why the patriarchy will not end in our lifetime. Loads of people say, oh, I can't believe I'm having to defend a man. You don't have to. You don't have to. That you honestly don't have to, because the man won't defend a woman. You can bet that. And I'll be damned before I get on this app to defend Scamaraya. I'll be damned. So, we'll see. There's a new bombshell coming in. I don't think he's Iris's type, which I think might potentially cause a dilemma, because if Iris ditches Jeremiah and Jeremiah doesn't get with the new bombshell, there's equal numbers, so they could, by default, they might have to recouple up with each other, and that could cause a problem, especially if they're in the same bed. So, honestly, I really do want Huda to hold on. Hopefully she holds on till Casa Amor and she finds a new man there. It's happening soon. I think it's going to be next week Casa Amor starts. So as long as she holds on to Casa Amor, I have hope for her. But I got to hear from you guys. Is there redemption for Huda? Do we feel like a crash out is pending? And will it be on Jeremiah? It could be on someone new. I got to hear from you guys.